Hi, so I'm Kendall Glennnon. I am a junior here at Cornell. I am a psychology major, and this summer I was Andrews Fellow in Nonprofit and Community Education in Chicago, Illinois. So a little bit of background is I worked for a nonprofit organization called Project Rousseau, which was founded in 2011 by Andrew Heinrich, who I worked closely with while I was in New York for a week, which I will get to in a moment. The mission statement for Project Rousseau, to give you a little bit of background, is at Project Rousseau, it is our mission to empower youth in communities with the greatest need to reach their full potential and pursue higher education. So their main focus is on communities that are very well below the poverty line and helping them get what they can and pursue college if the student would like to. So I learned about this opportunity through Rebecca. I was in for a resume review and she told me about this opportunity and just decided to go for it. 4 pillars of Project Rousseau that they kind of use to help guide the students are broadening horizons, community service, a mentor and mentee program, as well as academics, so like SAT and ACT prep. So I started out with a 1-week training in Manhattan, New York. Up here is Andrew Heinrich, he's the founder of Project Rousseau, and then below is Bethany Thorne, who I worked mostly with. She's the chief of staff. I only worked with them while I was in New York because that's where most of the interns for Project Rousseau were staying. The main goal of working in New York was to prepare all the interns through their different sites and cities and to get them prepared for what's to come this summer. Every Wednesday there was an intern dinner to kind of just catch up. I was only able to attend one since I wasn't there the entire summer, but it was great to get to know everyone. Most of the interns actually were from out of the country. I was the only American, so that was very interesting. My specific project goals were to create a fall semester for Hyde Park Academy students who work with Project Rousseau. So just high school students, it's a high school on the south side of Chicago for those of you who are not familiar with Chicago. So my calendar needed to include mainly the Broadening Horizons site visits that I'll get to in a moment, as well as the weekly community service that I'd find for them. I also created a timeline and helped produce the mentor application process. So specifically my work is I started by organizing and working on spreadsheets that were given to me about different possible opportunities that I could go on throughout Chicago, different community service opportunities that I'd look more into for the students. I also met with a lot of Project Rousseau staff to go over goals and previous work that had been done already, just so I didn't do anything that had already been done, as well as phone calls and emails, because like I said, I was the only person in Chicago through this time, so most of it was through phone and email. Like I mentioned, I went on a lot of site visits and created final reports on these site visits. So more specifically, I started at Hyde Park Academy, which that is the high school right there in the photo. I timed how long it would take me to get to and from each site via public transportation, with adding a little bit of time because they would go in groups of students, and so to gather all the students, and in case a train takes longer for them than it did for me, added a little bit of time there. So in total, I went on 5 site visits throughout Chicago. Some examples where I went to the Museum of Science and Industry, the DuSable Museum of African American History, as well as the Museum of Contemporary Photography. All these experiences were great for me, and so I can only imagine that they're even better for all the students there who probably haven't had an opportunity to visit museums and have experiences like this. I also transitioned all my work into final reports with notes to indicate possible paths that the students could take in the museums, some learning opportunities, and how fun it would be while also being educational. The professional impact is I learned a lot about event planning and scheduling, which is something I'm going to take with me no matter what I end up doing as a career, as well as networking and collaboration, which is something that, as Rebecca noticed during my application process, something that I am not good at and is kind of terrifying. I also learned time management because I had to work remotely from home. My site ended up not working out. I was working pretty much on my bed or couch with my coworker, my dog, right there. That was kind of my entire summer. And then I also learned how to navigate public transportation through Chicago and New York, which is very helpful for wherever I end up going in life. And then this had a huge personal impact on me. It showed me the importance of being flexible and not having too many expectations. Going into this, I thought it would be something a little bit different than what it was, and just kind of going along with it and not really getting affected by the fact that it wasn't what I thought it would be, but still realizing that it was very educational and very important for me to do, as well as working with kids is really important. So like I just mentioned, I thought I'd be working with kids a lot more than I was, but since it was summer, kids aren't in school, so I wasn't able to work directly with them. I also learned that I do not like working with spreadsheets a lot, but I definitely gained experience. I like more actually doing things rather than sitting behind a computer screen. This also gave me a way better idea of what I want to do in the future. So like Rebecca said, last block I actually finished an internship with the Lynn County Juvenile Detention Center, which is more along the lines of what I want to do in the future, working with troubled adolescents and teens. And I don't think I would have pursued that opportunity had I not become a Cornell Fellow. So I would just like to thank the Cornell Fellows staff, Rebecca and Jason. I couldn't have done this without you, as well as my site sponsors, Andrew Heinrich and Bethany Thorne, and then my faculty and academic advisor, Alice Ganzel.